I think they have like 40,000 followers already without having put out
Oh,
their first video.
I mean, we get to the circumstances
Yeah.
of their thing as well in a bit, but yeah, to be honest, I unsubscribed from the Hill.
I
Uh,
unsubscribed from the Hill too.
but to be honest, I was thinking of, I wasn't sure because then they had Ryan
Yeah,
Grimm
then
as
they
one
had
of
right.
their
Yeah.
replacements. I don't know if it's a, if he stays there, there's a good chance I might subscribe again because even with all the drama of the last month or so, I still quite like his takes. So
Yeah. No, he's still somewhere in yeah. Final verdict hasn't
yeah,
hasn't been made in Ryan Grimm's case. Yeah, I actually unsubscribed before that, especially because the Hill like
gives you
okay,
another
half
shit.
a lot of
Uh,
like crap that's like free on those what's that channel called where they show like Congress uh
NPR.
and now there's the other one like
Oh,
starts
I see it's
C-spam.
spam.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
like yo, what's
it's
going
spam,
on? Yeah.
but
So
it's
the
a spam. Yeah.
so their content is annoying except the rising. But yeah, that's the main
Yeah.
reason. But okay, anything else there or should we just get to the final part about Kyle?
No, let's get to it, I think.
Yeah. So Kyle posted a video just on Wednesday evening and he talks about some of like the things that happened behind behind the scenes since Kyle and Krystal launched their show. So they launched their show in January and Kyle has a couple of things that he brings out and a couple of points that he makes and one or two of them I think are legitimate and then the other one or two not that they're not legitimate or they're not shitty but given that the Hill is a corporation, probably affiliated with all kinds of like right wing like donors and people, or I don't even know what. Anyway, they're a corporation. For a corporation, I found that they're what they've done so far, how they've reacted so far, is kind of leaning towards the more the better way that you've seen sometimes corporations like that. They can be far more vicious. So the first point that Kyle makes is that they did some weird shady thing with their goodbye video with Krystal and Saagar's goodbye video. So apparently at first it was kind of making it more clear that they're leaving, and then they changed the title of that video, and now it's more unclear and stuff. So yeah, yeah, okay.
Well, apparently it was there for 2 days only, and then they
Mhm.
pulled it and replaced it with a promo with a lot of people who Kyle believes wouldn't have given their consent to be used
So
for
I
a
find
promo.
that to be ridiculous. I mean, not giving their consent. They went on that show. Everything that they did there kind of became Hill's material. And what do you want the Hill to do? Oh, these two are leaving. Should we shut down? I mean, no, they're a corporation. They need to have some kind of continuity.
No,
So of course they're gonna promote their new show and use footage from their past show. This was their show. This was not Sagar's show. Yes, Krystal and
sure.
Sagar are what made this show 100%. But of course they're gonna use footage from what they're just gonna forget about all that. I found that to be one of his more ridiculous kind of accusations.
Sure, but I mean, I think he was very clear that what he wanted. He said that why couldn't they sort of gotten a good scent of like the heroes they were because they attracted so much audience for the channel. And I think, to be honest, both responses make sense. In one sense, it's more diplomatic maybe to have had a better way of you didn't need to like pull the video after 2 days. Like it does seem
Yeah,
unnecessarily. I
sure,
don't. I like. I find it unnecessarily vindictive. It seems from the corporation's point of view,
sure.
but at the same time, yeah, corporation they want to basically maybe at the same time they want to make a point about the fact that yeah these guys use their like to be fair they did use Hill's
I mean,
cover.
Kyle points out nonstop that one of the reasons the Rising is did this well is because they had the backing of the corporation, so YouTube algorithms helped them out. I mean, that's something that
Yeah,
he points out all the time. But I mean, all this makes me think that Kyle, you can tell he's always been his own boss. Because even like at a shitty
uh,
company and stuff like that, when you're done, they're like, yeah, here, okay, good to go. From the next day, it's as if this person was never here. Like this person like never existed. That's how
yeah,
most companies
sure.
operate. So I really wasn't surprised. And
But
there
to be
it's just
fair,
all about them. It's not about this employee who left. That employee, It's over.
Sure. But to be fair, he did mention a couple of other incidents
Yeah, I'm gonna
regarding.
get to those. So maybe let
Uh,
me name them. So maybe that's okay.
I
So
mean,
maybe
yeah.
that's. So should I
Again,
stick? I have two left. One I find to be serious, and one I find to be kind of ridiculous. So the second, so the fun. I'll start with the ridiculous one. So the one that I find to be ridiculous is that Kyle says they had agreed that on the that, or maybe they hadn't even agreed about this. Okay, they had agreed that Kyle can. Oh, that's the serious part. So I'll say that one first. They had agreed that they can post segments of the video on YouTube. And after that, they did that for their first episode. Then they kind of, the Hill backtracked on that deal or that agreement or whatever and said, no, if you post another video of your show on YouTube, we're going to, come after you with our corporate lawyers and all that. So that one, yes, I agree. That can be really scary for someone like Kyle. I can see that. And I'm glad that, he stood his ground and he kept on posting the video. And he's like, this is my channel. I don't work for you guys. I don't care what you told Krystal, if you have a problem with Krystal, she's your employee, sure. So that one, that's a serious one, and I can see
yeah,
how that one is scary.
yeah,
That's the
but
more serious one, if you
that's
ask me.
that. I agree, but at the same time, that's the one I kind of didn't like when he talked about these type of things. I mean, just go ahead, make your second point, and
Yeah,
then
the,
I
the,
say
the
why I
second
didn't.
one that I find kind of, a bit ridiculous is that maybe they had agreed on this before, but maybe they hadn't. But then they told Krystal that you can't make reference to your show on The Rising. I mean, I find that Kyle himself barely makes reference to that show sometimes. He just posts one video on his own channel.
No, no,
Maybe
no,
The
no, no,
Rising.
no.
Go ahead.
Wait, they couldn't make a reference to Krystal, Kyle and Friends on the Rising show,
Yeah, yeah,
so they,
100. Yeah, they couldn't.
yeah.
Yeah, they told them not. But okay, sure. And maybe at first I told them they can, and then maybe they said they no. But besides maybe allowing her to maybe introduce it once or twice, I mean, what? Krystal on this show is every time going to make reference. And then he says that, we decided not to go with the advertising model and all this. And then boom, this corporation comes and takes half of our audience away like that. They didn't tell Krystal not to promote on her own Twitter channel and all that. True. And secondly, it's not the Hills' problem what business model you decided to go with. So you decided not to have ads or to have ads. So I didn't really see how that point had to do with anything. But yeah, I guess I've went over my serious and less serious stuff.
Look, yeah, but he also mentions a situation where one of the I don't know corporate people comes and says to Crystal Ball that I own you on YouTube. What I didn't like about this part of his talk was the fact that I think because he's not uh, he's not the person who's involved basically. To be honest, there are contracts, right? And in those contracts, it is specified, for example, what are, and there are laws, by the way, that, for example, there are laws that protect Crystal Ball from a corporation having too much control over her life. And then there is the contract that gives us specifics that, okay, she can do this, she can do that, exactly. So I don't think this is very, I think if the guy said that to her, he was a dick first, even if that was in her contract. But for these type of issues, there are contracts, and that's why they exist. And I don't understand this thing that he says. For example, that Crystal Ball went and got permission from the Hill. Like, why did she even need permission to? Does the actor? So there must have been something in her
Yeah,
contract,
okay.
her other appearances in her YouTube thing. So what? And then they gave permission. What does that mean? Was that a written thing? Because you gave her it's not a fucking it's not a friendship club that I gave her permission. Oh, I make a Batman movie, and then I tell everybody, oh, Warner Brothers told me they gave me permission. What's the problem? So I don't get it. If you want to complain about these type of things, I think you should do it in a more because it's sort of half in, half out. You don't know half of the thing. So maybe I don't know how
Yeah.
much people paid, and what's the normal rate in the business. Maybe Krystal and Saagar are getting twice paid as much as somebody in the same position, but then in their contract there are all these caveats about their appearances in other shows. I don't know. So it's just hard to make to go all the way and say that the Hill are the bad guys here.
Yeah.
Not that they're not, they're a
Hmm.
corporation, of course they're the bad guys, but sometimes that's just the nature of the thing. Like
Yeah.
that's their business. They're not being dicks for this. I mean, again, if the guy said what Kyle says that he has said, I think that's a very rude and dickish thing
Yeah.
to say. But
No, exactly right. I think we're on the same page here. I mean,
yeah,
some
yeah.
of the
But
stuff are bad, but not as bad as Kyle makes them seem like. And I'm actually surprised that The Hill is not going further and is not, like when they start their show, trying to mess with them, be like, hey, you not mess, but be like, hey, you took our concept. This was the concept here. You're copying it, or I don't know, because they have all kind of lawyers. I mean, so far the way that it's going smoothly, and I really hope for them it continues to go this smoothly. I was actually surprised based on how things go with corporations and all that. So yeah, I found some of Kyle's points here, like we
I'm sure.
mentioned.
I think there has been a smoother transitions, but
But sometimes they have like non-competing clauses in there, and then they can be like, so for instance, you can go work somewhere else, right? And then they can
or
be like,
yeah, the format
oh,
is out.
yeah. Or right, and
But
they'd be
I
like, "Oh, we're not
think
gonna go work somewhere else," but they'd be like, "No, still, you made this company, and like whatever, you're taking the exact same show." There are
no,
many
yeah, yeah.
ways that they can go after them and fuck with them, even if at the end Krystal and Saagar would win.
To be fair, I think the Hill tried though. Like, I don't
Yeah,
think they're allowing them to take the format or anything. So
I mean,
I,
more or less, it sounds like they're
and
gonna be doing a
and
similar
it,
show.
and again, I'm sure if in their contract they had the opportunity to fuck with them more, they would have.
Yeah,
But probably like with the Conan situation, if I don't know if anybody remembers from many years ago when Conan O'Brien replaced Jay Leno, and then they replaced him with Jay Leno again. So if they have the chance in the contract, they would fuck with you.
yeah,
I think they probably didn't have the chance. So again, I just don't want to give them too much credit or
yeah,
anything out there. It's just that yeah, we don't know what's going on with the contracts or anything, so it's hard to
yeah.
say, oh, bad corporation.
And based on what Kyle has said, it haven't been the most horrific reactions. I mean, I guess that's my main
Yeah, yeah,
point that I would add to what you just said.
yeah,
I
I
think we're on the same page. I feel like we're saying kind of the same thing, but yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Maybe others can tell us if if
There
we're
was
not.
no disagreement there. No, no, surprisingly. But yeah, it was.
Yeah.
But I'm glad we'll see. In their new format could be interesting. It would be. It's like whenever people. It's kind of like when a independent director that has a producer above his head for his first few films, and then he becomes big, and then he kind of goes wild. So, and then you can go Quentin Tarantino, that you become the best director ever, or you become M. Night Shyamalan, who's basically just needs a producer to control him.
Yeah,
It
is
would
that the
be
reason his movies went a bit downhill?
That's commonly cited reason, because as
Interesting.
he has gained independence and control, and yeah, in his movies he's always he plays these semi-messiah figure characters or
Hmm.
something.